What if I told you that the girl everyone gave up on would one day inherit a fortune? This is Maya's incredible true story that will leave you speechless. Make sure to watch until the end. You won't believe what happens. Maya Chin pressed her face against the cold window of Sunset Valley Children's Home, watching yet another family walk away without her. At 12 years old, she had seen the scene play out 47 times. Yes, she counted. Each rejection carved a deeper wound in her heart, but she had learned to hide the pain behind a brave smile. Maybe next time, whispered her roommate Lucy, trying to comfort her. But Maya knew better. There wouldn't be a next time for a girl like her. You see, Maya wasn't like the other children. Born with a noticeable scar across her left cheek from a childhood accident, she walked with a slight limp from a leg injury that never healed properly. In a world where families wanted perfect children, Maya was always overlooked. If you're already feeling emotional about Maya's story, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what you think happens next. The orphanage director, Mrs. Patterson, had grown tired of Maya's attitude problem. You see, Maya had developed a defense mechanism. She would act cold and distant during visits, pushing families away before they could reject her. It was easier than hoping and getting hurt again. Maya, you need to try harder, Mrs. Patterson scolded after another failed meeting. The Hendersons were lovely people, and you barely spoke to them. But Maya had overheard Mrs. Patterson on the phone earlier. Well, she's not the prettiest child, and she has some complications. Are you sure you wouldn't prefer someone younger? That night, Maya made a decision that would change everything. She was done waiting for a family to choose her. She would choose herself. At 13, Maya started working odd jobs around the neighborhood. She cleaned windows for local businesses, walked dogs, and even helped elderly residents with their groceries. The other kids thought she was crazy, but Maya had a plan. She was saving every penny she earned. Drop her in the comments if you admire Maya's determination. While her peers played video games or watched TV, Maya spent her evenings in the orphanage library teaching herself business principles from old magazines and borrowed books. She learned about stocks, investments, and entrepreneurship. The librarian, Mr. Rodriguez, noticed her dedication and started bringing her more advanced materials. "Why are you studying all this, Maya?" he asked one day. "Because if no one's going to take care of me, I'll take care of myself," she replied with a maturity that surprised even him. By age 15, Maya had saved $800, a fortune for a teenager in her situation. But instead of spending it on clothes or gadgets like other kids might, she invested it in something unexpected: a small cart and supplies to start her own business. Every morning before school, Maya would set up her cart outside the local subway station, selling homemade breakfast sandwiches and coffee. Her prices were fair, her food was delicious, and most importantly, she treated every customer with genuine respect and kindness. What business would you have started at 15? Let me know in the comments below. Word spread quickly about the girl with the bright smile who made the best breakfast in town. Commuters began seeking out Maya's cart, not just for the food, but for her infectious positive energy that made their mornings brighter. One particular customer caught Maya's attention, an elderly man in an expensive suit who came by every Tuesday and Thursday. He never spoke much, just ordered his usual black coffee and plain bagel, left a generous tip and walked away. Maya noticed he always looked sad, and his hand shook slightly when he handed her money. One rainy Thursday morning, the man didn't show up. Maya felt worried. He had never missed a Thursday in 6 months. The next week, she saw him again, but he looked even more frail than before. "Sir, are you okay?" Maya asked, surprising herself with her boldness. "I was worried when you didn't come last week." The man, whose name was Edward Blackwood, was shocked. In his 78 years, very few people had ever shown genuine concern for his well-being. As the founder and CEO of Blackwood Industries, a multi-million-dollar corporation, people usually wanted something from him. But this young girl seemed to care simply because she was kind. "I was in the hospital," he admitted quietly. "Heart problems." From that day forward, Maya made sure to set aside the freshest bagel and warmest coffee for Mr. Blackwood. She would ask about his health, listen to his stories about his late wife, and even save newspaper articles she thought might interest him. Are you starting to see where this is going? Hit that subscribe button if you want to see how this incredible story ends. What Maya didn't know was that Edward had been watching her for months. He had seen her kindness to every customer, witnessed her work ethic, and observed how she never let her difficult circumstances define her attitude. In a world full of people who had disappointed him, Maya's genuine nature stood out like a beacon. Edward had lost his own daughter in a car accident 20 years earlier. His wife had died of grief just 2 years later. Since then, he had thrown himself into work, building his empire but finding no joy in his success. He had no family, no heirs, and no one who cared about him as a person rather than his wealth. But Maya cared, and she didn't even know who he really was. One day, Edward didn't show up again. This time, Maya was really worried. She asked other customers if they had seen him, but no one knew anything. After 3 weeks of absence, Maya made a bold decision. She closed her cart early and went to the hospital, asking if an elderly man named Edward had been admitted. The receptionist couldn't give her information, but Maya's persistence and obvious genuine concern eventually led a kind nurse to confirm he was there. Maya showed up to Edward's hospital room with a thermos of coffee and a warm bagel. Edward's eyes filled with tears when he saw her. "How did you find me?" he whispered. "I was worried about you," Maya said simply. "You're important to me." Those words broke something open in Edward's heart that had been locked away for 20 years. If you're crying right now, you're not alone. Share the story with someone who needs to hear it. Over the following weeks, Maya visited Edward every day after school. She brought him food, read him the newspaper, and simply kept him company. She never asked for anything, never wanted anything except to make sure he was okay. It was during one of these visits that Edward finally asked Maya about her life. She told him about the orphanage, about being unwanted, about her dreams of building something meaningful with her life. She spoke without bitterness, just honest determination. "Maya," Edward said one day, "would you like to come live with me?" Maya thought he was joking. "Mr. Edward, I can't afford to rent a room from you. I need to save my money for—" "Not as a tenant," Edward interrupted gently. "As my daughter." The room fell silent. Maya stared at him, unable to process what she had just heard. Edward continued, "I've been watching you for over a year. You have more integrity, kindness, and strength than anyone I've ever met in the business world. You treated me with respect when I was just a customer buying coffee. You cared for me when I was sick, asking for nothing in return. Maya, I want to adopt you. I want you to be my daughter." Maya burst into tears. After years of rejection, someone wasn't just choosing her. Someone was choosing her because of who she was, not in spite of her flaws. Hit that like button if this is making you emotional too. But the story gets even more incredible. The next day, Edward brought Maya to his office to show her something. As they walked into the towering glass building with Blackwood Industries emblazoned across the front, Maya began to realize that her friend Edward wasn't just any elderly customer. Edward Blackwood was one of the wealthiest men in the state, worth over $500 million. And he wanted Maya to be not just his daughter, but his heir. "This is all overwhelming, I know," Edward said as they stood in his corner office overlooking the city. "But Maya, I don't want you to think I'm adopting you because I need an heir. I'm making you my heir because I'm adopting you. You've already shown me you have everything it takes to be successful: integrity, kindness, determination, and business sense. The money is just a bonus." The adoption process took 6 months. During that time, Maya continued running her breakfast cart, insisting she wanted to finish what she started. Edward was so proud of her work ethic that he had his lawyers help her officially incorporate her small business. On Maya's 16th birthday, the adoption was finalized. Maya Chin became Maya Blackwood, daughter of one of the city's most successful businessmen. But here's what makes this story truly special. Maya didn't forget where she came from. Before I tell you what Maya did next, smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss stories like this. With Edward's support, Maya expanded her breakfast business into a chain of small restaurants that specifically hired teenagers aging out of the foster care system. She created a mentorship program, a scholarship fund, and even started a foundation dedicated to finding homes for older children in orphanages, the kids everyone else had given up on. "I was lucky," Maya said in a speech at the foundation's first fundraising gala. I found someone who saw my worth when I couldn't see it myself. But there are thousands of kids still waiting, still believing they're unwanted. I want to change that." Edward watched from the audience with tears in his eyes. His daughter hadn't just inherited his wealth, she had inherited his heart and made it bigger than he ever thought possible. Today, 5 years later, Maya is 21 years old and runs a multi-million-dollar business empire. But every Tuesday and Thursday morning, you can still find her at her original breakfast cart, serving coffee and bagels to commuters, because she never wants to forget the girl who refused to give up on herself. The Blackwood Foundation has helped over 500 older children find permanent homes. Maya's restaurant chain employs over 200 former foster kids. And Edward, he says adopting Maya was the best business decision he ever made, because it wasn't a business decision at all. What's the most incredible part of this story to you? Let me know in the comments below. The girl nobody wanted to adopt became the daughter of a millionaire, but more importantly, she became living proof that your circumstances don't define your worth, your character does. Maya's message to anyone who feels unwanted or overlooked is simple: your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. Keep working on yourself, keep believing in your dreams, and never let anyone convince you that you're not enough. Sometimes the family you need isn't the one you're born into, it's the one that recognizes who you really are. Edward passed away peacefully last year at the age of 82, surrounded by Maya and the large chosen family they had built together through their foundation work. His final words to Maya were, "Thank you for teaching an old man that it's never too late to learn how to love." Maya inherited everything, but she had already given Edward something far more valuable. She had given him purpose, joy, and the daughter he thought he'd never have again. If this story moved you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more incredible true stories that will restore your faith in humanity. What story should I tell next? Drop your suggestions in the comments below, and I might feature your recommendation in the next video. Remember, you are never too old to be wanted, too broken to be loved, or too ordinary to be extraordinary. Maya's story proves that sometimes the most beautiful endings come from the most difficult beginnings.